today's learning mode states, I can represent word statements as inequalities. And the word statements they're going to give us aren't going to use words like, Mara's score is greater than or equal to 50. That is not how they're going to give it to us. We are going to have to use words from the word statement that will help us identify what inequality symbol should we use, what should we use as our endpoint, and what's our variable represent. Okay, so those are all going to be important things today. So our directions here say translate each word statement into an inequality. Take over for me, Derek.
Where do you see that it shows equality, then graph the equality on the number line, use the variable x for each statement.
Okay, thank you. So we are going to do some writing statements. We're going to, algebraic statement they would be called, an inequality statement. We're going to be describing the variable. We're going to write out what our algebraic statement actually says in words. We're not going to rewrite the problem. We're going to say, what does our algebraic inequality statement say in words? And then we're going to show it on the graph to try and make sense of, do we have a good inequality statement, okay? So our number one, the low temperature of the day was at least 25 degrees. So the variable, the shaded region on the graph, the variable in the inequality is going to represent what in this problem? What can change? What can help form our group? What would the variable represent in this one? What are they talking about? They're only talking about one thing, then the temperature of the day, right? So the variable x represents temperature in degrees, we'll say. And the temperature in degrees. That's the only thing they're really talking about in this problem. But they do give us some more information, okay? When they use this word, excuse me, I needed the highlighter. When they use these words right here, those are key words right there, at least. So the low temperature of the day, that would be the bottom end of the temperature. The low temperature of the day was 25 degrees. So what does at least mean? If I say to you, I'm going to give you at least 6 problems of homework, you can count on me giving you how many problems possibly? 6 or 7 or 8 or at least. I'm going to give you at least 6. I'm going to give you 6, 7, 8. In other words, I'm going to give you 6 or more time. So in this particular situation, we are going to write, so circle those words that I highlighted, at least. And that means more than in this case. So more than. And in our case, it's not 6, it's 25. So we need to represent more than 25 with our inequality symbol. Now, at least means, though, would 25 be included? Yeah. More than 25 or 25. It can be either, right? So that should help us right now make our inequality symbol in our statement. So the inequality would read, the temperature in degrees is more than or is 25. So is greater than or is equal to 25. Okay, let's write our statement. Well, you know what, before we write all those words, just in case we're wrong, let's do the graph instead and make sure it makes sense on the graph, okay? So we're going to go to 25 on the number line they've already provided for us, and we're going to put a circle. Are we going to shade that circle in? Why not?
Because it has the little line underneath it.
Because if the little thing is underneath it, is it included or not included? It is included, so it can be 25 degrees, so that means we should shade it in. Yeah, that means we should shade it in. In other words, the temperature could have been 25 degrees. Our inequality says our temperature is greater than or equal to 25. There's the equal to part when we shade the circle in. The numbers greater than 25 go this direction, don't they? take some number from that side of 25 and decide, does that make sense? Okay,
30.
30, okay? So if the low temperature of the day was at least 25 degrees, could it have been 30 degrees outside? Yes. Okay, so we are going to now say we're feeling confident with our inequality statement because we graphed it. We picked a number from that region and we said 30 is at least 25 degrees, so we can say X is greater than, in other words, in this statement, we're just writing out, X is greater than or equal to 25. We want to keep practicing what do those statements say. Questions? No? Okay, then let's go to number 2. Let's figure out, leave that there for a little bit. What's the unknown in this one? What's the group of numbers going to represent? The lowest price for airline tickets from Dallas to San Diego for the year was $208. $208, not $208. $208. What's the variable X representing in this one? How would we describe X this time? Yeah, the price of an airline ticket, right? So, right here, it's right here, price for airline tickets. So, our X is going to represent the price of the airline ticket. Why did they use the word lowest? Because that should help us decide what our inequality symbol should be. And we have our endpoint. What's our endpoint? Okay.
208.
Yeah, this 208 is important. The fact that they use the word lowest is important. So what do you think? Do you think that airline tickets would have to be more than 208 or less than 208, or if the lowest price was $208, would the price of the airline ticket be under $208 or over 208? It'd be over $208. Let's write that off to the side here. Over $208. Could it be $208?
Yes.
Because it said the lowest price was $208, so we could say or $208. So it could be the 208 or some number over 208. Okay? What do you think the inequality statement would read this time? How do you think we would write it this time? If our variable X has to represent the price of an airline ticket and it's either $208 or it's over $208. What would we write? One more time, Katie, and I'm making the others start talking.
Okay, so X is greater than or equal to $208.
Okay, X is greater than or equal to 208. We don't need the, by the way, in your inequality statements, you don't have to have the labels, okay? Well, you know what? Remember what we said, before we write that out, let's go through all that work and then maybe have to erase all those words. Let's do the graph for it. Let's go right to graphing it. So 208, is there an endpoint already numbered, labeled on the number line 208? No. But we have to show good number line sense because remember, between the tick marks that they have right now, how many units are being represented? 10. From 180 to 190, there's 10 units. From 190 to 200, there's 10 units. Does it keep going up by tens?
Yes.
And look at, are they equal sections?
Yes.
That's important, showing good number line sense. Well, so now what we have to do is we have to make a tick mark for that 208. So where's 208 going to be? Harley? Between which two tick marks, first of all?
200.
Okay, so between 200 and 210, which one is it closer to? the 10, and how many units away from the 10 is it? 2. So we have to kind of envision that we're gonna be 2 units away from 10, and is 208 more than halfway?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I'm thinking probably about right here. How do you feel? Think we have a good mark? Okay, so we're gonna put that we're at 208. So put this tick mark. We haven't even started graphing it yet. We're just saying, okay, here's where I want to zero in on the number line. We'll put a circle at our new tick mark. Will we shade that circle in? Can the airline ticket be $208? Mm-hmm. What other numbers can it be? Which direction? Left or right?
Right.
To the right. Okay, so this is what our inequality says. It says greater than or equal to 208. That's what our inequality says. Does our inequality make sense? Let's pick a number from that side. Throw a number at me. Harley? 240, okay. If the lowest price for the airline ticket was $208, could there have been an airline ticket for $240? Yes, that makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, well then we're ready to write x is greater than or equal to $208. You do not have to put the dollar sign in there, remember? You can just put what are actually, if you read this to somebody, this statement to somebody, what would it say? It says x is greater than or equal to 208.
Do you need to say what x is in the statement or not?
No, I might have in my notes that I already completed, but they can just use the variables name, that's okay. Because we're describing the variable above, so that's okay. Okay, number 3. Rachel weighs at least as much as Monica. Monica weighs 105 pounds. Who weighs more? Rachel or Monica?
Monica.
Yeah, what do you think? You think Monica weighs more, okay? So Rachel weighs at least as much as Monica. Monica weighs 105 pounds, okay? Rachel weighs at least as much as Monica. At least as much as Monica. So does she weigh under whether she weighs at least, or does she weigh over? I am willing to give you at least $100. So then I walk up to Tyler and I give him 20. Tyler, how are you feeling about that? Not good, because I said I would what? I said I'd give you $100 or over. Yeah, at least $100. Tyler's not going to settle for 20 bucks. So, Danny? She weighs more than Monica. Yeah, let's put that off to the side here. Rachel weighs more. Not a bad thing, it's just this is what it is. It says that she weighs at least as much as Monica. Well, then that means she weighs what Monica weighs or more. So Rachel weighs more, let's put here, or the same. At least, okay? So at least we have to take into account, when do we use the equal to bar? Well, when they use the words at least, that means that starting number is included. So she weighs more or she weighs the same as Monica. Well, Monica weighs 105 pounds. Well, what's the variable x going to represent then? Whose weight? Rachel's. We know Monica's, don't we? So it's variable x represents Rachel's weight. We decided over here that Rachel weighs more or the same. So what's that inequality statement going to look like? No, okay, you get to rest your voice box for a little bit. But thanks for offering. Wait,
X is greater than or equal to Monica's weight.
well, do you want to write the word?
105.
Yeah, let's make this mathematical. Yeah, Monica's weight is 105, you're right. X is greater than or equal to 105. Well, before we write that out in words, what are we gonna do? Graph it. Okay, so in this one, oh, they did provide a tick mark right there for us because 105 is what? Halfway between these two, isn't it? So 105. We're gonna put a circle there. Shading represents Rachel's weight. Can Rachel weigh 105 pounds?
Yes.
Yep. She may weigh the same as Monica. What other numbers could she possibly weigh? To the right or to the left? To the right, okay. Because we decided she weighs more than, right? So give me a number from that region. Kira?
120.
120. Okay, let's see if that makes sense. Rachel weighs at least as much as Monica. If she weighs 120 pounds, does she weigh at least what Monica does? Does she make the at least? She does, doesn't she? Okay. So now we can write out our words. X is?
Is greater or equal to.
Not is greater or equal to. Greater,
Or.
greater than or equal to. Maybe I just didn't hear that word. Okay, I want you to do, I don't want you to write the statement, I don't even want you necessarily to graph it. I want you to try and describe the variable for the next one, and I want you to try and set up your own inequality. Go ahead, do it, please. Cheyenne, you already got it done? Oh, I thought you did. Grab your pencil. Okay, help me out. What is X represented? That's all I want right now. Tyler? Yeah, Scott's height. Or how tall Scott is. You can leave it like that. Scott's height. Or how tall. But what's it measured in? In feet. We don't want Scott, we want to know what his height is in since feet. Okay. Well, now that would mean the X in your inequality statement better represent the number of feet tall Scott is. Ikea, you think you know it?
X is less than or equal to 6.
How many of you agree with Ikea that the inequality statement should be X is less than or equal to 6? Okay, how's this different from all the other ones we've been doing? Okay, and so we've been using the is greater than or equal to, haven't we? So what changes it to the is less than or equal to? What words? At most, that's key word here. So Scott cannot be taller than 6 feet, can he? He has to be 6 feet or under. So this really says at most, so 6 feet or under. That's his height. Okay, so then our inequality statement seems to match that. So now let's graph it. Can Scott be 6 feet tall?
Yes.
Okay, because it says at most, so he can be 6 feet tall. What are other possibilities? To the left, yeah, to the left. Well, in reality, we can't go past 0, but we'll just shade like we always do. You'll learn next year in Algebra 1 how to talk about restrictions. Okay, let's see if it makes sense. If Scott is, what, pick a number from there.
5 foot.
5 feet, okay? If he is at most 6 feet tall, could he possibly be 5 foot tall? Okay, does it make sense that he could be 7 feet? If he's at most 6, could he be anything on the other side? No, we can't be, so we can go with that X is less than or equal to 6. So notice, they did not in any of these situations use the words that we wrote in our statements, did they? Did they say is less than or equal to? Did they say is greater than or equal to in their statements? No, that's not how they're gonna write them. They're gonna use words that will say, okay, here's how you figure out what kind of inequality this represents. That's what we're gonna practice next. So questions on this? Seeing no hands, hearing nothing, I'm going to move on then. Go to the back side. Okay, this is always fun. Look at the inequalities. For each inequality, write a situation that could be described by the inequality. Write a situation. They are not going to want you to write a statement like X is less than or equal to 6. That is not what they want. They want a situation like Scott is at most 6 feet tall. Okay? So we have the inequality. Let's circle that first of all so we know what we have to work with here. What does that say?
A is greater than 10.
A is greater than 10. They want A to represent the age of a person. So they're telling us in your situation, let that variable, let the unknown be how old somebody is. Okay, so situation. Anybody got one for us? Got a situation for us? Kaden, I'll give you another chance here.
Josh is older than John. John is
Josh is older than John. Okay, Josh is older than John. Okay, and then we'll end that sentence, okay? What would the next part be?
John is 26.
John is how old?
26.
Oh, where's 26 come from? Kind of a random number, isn't it? What does our inequality statement have in it for an endpoint? 10. So John is 10 years old. So what is our A representing? Whose age? Josh's age. A is representing Josh's age. So let's just take the time to write that. A is Josh's age. Now, in your homework, you're going to have to do some graphs for these also, but we're going to not do it here so that we can move on and you can maybe get a little bit of homework time, okay? So we were practicing graphing on the front and making sense of it, so hopefully you can carry that through when you do problems like this also. Okay, number 2, the inequality is T what? Is less than 50. Okay, well let's circle that. Where T represents the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit outside. So we can't use the words is less than in our statement. No, we're going to write a situation that would lead us to say this is the inequality symbol we should use. So, who thinks they have one for us? Wait.
It is currently 50 degrees outside. No. Yeah, it is greater than 50 degrees outside. And T represents how warm it got later.
I would not know which inequality statement to use. I would know which endpoint to use. I would know I need to use 50, and I would know that T is representing temperature, warmness, but I don't know which inequality symbol to use according to that. So we gotta somehow lead us to know what inequality symbol would we use.
Teachers, would you please put your recycling outside your door? They will be picked up 4th hour. And please do not have any trash or other things in the bins. And if you have newspapers, be sure that those are on top. Thank you.
Okay, somebody got one now? We'll try again. Okay, I'll do one then for you. The temperature outside any day last week can you finish it for me? Carly? The temperature, well, we gotta finish this sentence, so can we add that on here? The temperature outside any day last week we're going to try and not use the word less. So at least use another word that would help us say something about it being less. Go ahead.
The temperature outside last week was
Colder than
colder.
how much?
Colder than 50 degrees.
Okay, colder than 50 degrees Fahrenheit. There we go. Does that mean it would be under 50 degrees?
Yeah.
Because what happens with temperature? The higher the numbers, the colder it gets? No, the lower the numbers, the colder it gets. So T is less than 50 should work for this one, shouldn't it? Okay, let's go to the next one. The inequality is N is greater than or equal to 25. So there's our inequality, where N represents the number of people at the concert. Well, they're kind of really setting this up for us here, aren't they? Wait,
If there were more than 25 people at the concert.
well, we gotta be careful because if we say it that way, there were more than 25 people at the concert, what would that include the 25? No, more than means 25 is not included, but all the numbers past 25, so 26, 27. But look at what's in our inequality symbol, the equal to bar. So we can't use the words more than, we're gonna have to do it a different way.
Approximately.
No, approximately. We know that the endpoint is 25. What else do we know? We know that it's more than or equal to, but that's not how we want to say it in the statement. So Dan? There were at least? There you go. So all we had to do is change the words to at least. Wait. There were
That's a small concert.
at least, yeah, it was, wasn't it? At least 25 people at the concert. There was Mrs. LeBron and nobody wanted to go here. Whatever. Okay, so we have to make sure that when the equal to bar is there, we use words that will include that equal to bar. Okay, and our very last one, the inequality is W, what's this symbol? Is less than or equal to 100, where W represents the number of women in the audience. So the number of women has to be less than or equal to 100. And an audience somewhere.
If there were 25 people at the concert, how could there be?
This doesn't say anything about the concert. This is an audience somewhere. It could be in church. It could be at the HAP. It could be. Hey, go ahead, Danny. Okay, so what start it out for me again. Okay, there were at most. We're going to add a little bit more to that, but we're going to get that down because that's good. There were at most 100 women in the audience audience where let's be a little more creative here. Let's add where's this audience? Danny, you can finish it. Go ahead. At the movie, okay. There were at most 100 women in the audience at the movie. I was thinking the high school play that they're going to put on this week. Okay, so again, you're going to be graphing these also when you do, but the directions will tell you that you have to make sure that you're graphing them also. Okay, so you're going to, and I'm going to be the one checking over your situations, even though you're getting an answer key tomorrow. Your situation is probably not going to be exactly like mine, so I'm going to be giving you, I'm going to be doing